Steve,
Yeah, I'm here.
Steve, are we live?
I don't know.
Steve,
Yeah,
are we live?
I think so.
Oh, good. I'm so glad.
Early, awful early.
It's been a rough week, Steve.
It has?
Yeah, it's been a rough week, buddy.
Huh? Not for me. It's been a pretty good week for me, to be honest.
Eat shit, Steve.
You shouldn't have bad feelings because somebody has a better week than you did.
Why not?
Just saying.
See, Steve, this week, I came home and my desktop computer was dead.
So?
Won't turn on.
Fix it.
Oh, all the stuff for the show is on the desktop computer. I'm gonna try to fix it, Steve.
But you overcame. You overcame that struggle, and we're still doing a show tonight.
Well, yeah, because I've always had the laptop, but it's easier to do the show on the desktop computer.
I'm assuming you were smart enough to back everything up onto like an external hard drive or a flash drive or something.
Steve, what kind of person do you take me for?
But an intelligent human being.
All of the stuff for the show is on the external hard drive or the second hard drive.
Well, there you go.
See? It's a beautiful thing, Steve.
I, for one, don't back up my computer and probably should. I mean, I put some things on flash drives, but not enough.
Yeah.
Nothing important.
Well, anyway, for those of you joining us tonight, this is the Fortean Slip, episode 8, the Robot Overlords episode. Steve, I've come to a conclusion.
Yeah?
Humanity is doomed.
Well, you've come to that conclusion before.
No, I'm thoroughly convinced. I am completely ready to fucking bow down to the robot overlords and let humanity just fucking waste away.
I watched a video today on Facebook of this robot that can like pick shit up and open doors and do flips and shit. It was pretty cool. If that's the robot overlord, I might just bow down.
Dude, I'm telling you, the humanity. I've decided that human beings are just too self-interested to do the right thing anymore.
So Richard posted over there that we're supposed to give a shout out to Will I Am, who is listening tonight. Thanks.
What? Will I Am? No, that's not what he said.
I read it wrong.
What do you think? One of the members of the Black Eyed Peas is fucking listening to our show?
Yeah.
Jesus fucking
Says Christ. He's always in the chat. Wait, hold on, let me adjust my...
I'm telling you right now, if Will I Am is in our chat always, then our show would be doing way better than it already is.
Never mind, it says Will L.
Exactly.
I had to adjust my glasses.
But no, I've come to that conclusion, Steve. I don't think that a human being can make the right decisions in any situation when it comes to governing people or doing the right thing in that aspect, because they're too fucking selfish. They're too self-interested. And you put a fucking computer in charge, it's going to be emotionless. It's not going to care about power or money. It's just going to make the right decision. Because fucking lobbyists aren't going to be able to hand a fucking computer money and say, yeah, do this.
Well, I get that aspect of it, but I don't want a fucking computer running everything.
I'm ready, Steve. I will fucking bow down to the robot overlords tomorrow. I am sick and tired of the bullshit.
But they'll just become intelligent machines eventually and succumb to the same types of temptations and things.
No.
So that's the way. You've talked about it before.
No, they won't.
I mean, not money, obviously, but power.
They'll be a big hive mind. They'll work together like ants.
Like the Borg.
Exactly.
You want the Borg.
That's what it's going to become, Steve. I'm ready. When you've seen so many idiotic decisions made by human beings, you just can't take it anymore, Steve.
Well, I agree that 90% of the decisions made by human beings are idiotic. Yes, including myself. I mean, yes, I get it.
Steve, listen, when a slip up by an employee on an island in the middle of the Pacific
Yeah, that was
causes an insane reaction because wait, that button sent out a fucking signal to all cell phones that said incoming ballistic missile strike. This is not a
that
drill.
was that was like some War of the Worlds shit right there.
Now, dude, I'm telling you right now, if the fucking robot overlords were in charge, that wouldn't have happened.
No, that's not true because there are programming glitches and things like that that could cause it
Steve,
to happen.
no. See, when the robot overlords take over, when AI becomes sentient and starts making its own AI, it'll work.
No, it will
It'll,
not. There will always be issues.
Steve, I'm telling you, it'll work.
I don't believe it.
I'm fucking so ready, Steve. Let's do it.
So what happens to us? We just become useless, and the robots take us over and like use us as slaves and shit.
I don't know. I'm ready for
Eventually.
it. All I know is I'm ready. I'm ready.
So you'd rather have robot overlords using us to build more robot overlords? Because what else would they do?
Steve. That's the evolution of man.
To become robot overlords or to make robot overlords?
Robot overlords are the next step in evolution. I'm ready, Steve. I'm telling you, I'm so fucking ready.
No, you could be the first volunteer then.
For what? What do I got to volunteer for?
To be overlorded.
To be overlorded?
Yes, you can go into the test program to see how that all works.
Do you know how fucking horrible and idiotic that sounded?
Well, I am a human, for God's sake.
I wish I could replace you with a fucking robot. Can we get robot Steve? Can we get fucking AI Steve?
Yeah, well,
I'm ready for that too. And can I get a bot that fucking resembles Richard?
I thought Richard already was
a bot
of some sort. There's something strange about him, and we haven't figured it out quite yet. But
the world may never know, Steve.
I mean, you never see the guy's face ever. We never even see it.
Sir Richard Allen could be a bot. I don't know. It's not my place, Steve.
I don't know. So Richard Allen is the robot overlord, the beginnings of robot overlordship.
Could be.
I think so.
But I think it's a step in the right direction, Steve. I think when you get a Keebler elf looking motherfuckers trying to go after legal weed, there's a problem.
I might have missed that particular story.
You missed that one. Oh, Jeff Sessions.
Okay.
Our lovely appointed. What is he exactly? I can't remember what his actual title is.
Politician, right?
Well, no, he's not a politician per se. He's in charge of a department of the government.
Still pretty much a politician to me.
But he's decided to roll back the Obama era policies of letting the states who have legal marijuana just do their thing and not go after them. And now he wants to go after them.
But Jeff Sessions can't do that on his own, can he? Doesn't that take like Congress or some shit?
Steve, he was put in charge of the department that does this shit. And I love how our producer's been sitting here for a while. He could have easily looked this up for me and then put it into the chat what Jeff Sessions is in charge of. But instead, I've gotten a bunch of shit that doesn't help me.
He's not like the Attorney General or something.
I don't know what the fuck he is.
I don't either because I don't follow politics. So that's why I didn't know that this was happening.
Yeah, he's a motherfucker. And he said that he was going to go after this initially, when the administration started, when he was first appointed. And everybody knew that it was going to happen. That's what I thought. He's the Attorney General.
That's what I thought. The General Attorney.
Yeah. So
I don't think can the attorney general? The attorney general can't overturn laws, though, can he? Especially
No.
state
Well,
rights.
he's not. He's enforcing federal law.
So the states have to cooperate with him, and they're not going to if they've already,
Right. It's going to cause a big problem.
It's kind of
I think New York was one of the states that asked Congress to just vote on this. Fucking vote on it. Let's, you know,
yes, Richard. He can circumvent state law with federal law, but the states still have to cooperate. In fact, what they would have to do is turn over people who are doing the bad thing that is against federal law. I mean, you can't. I mean, it's such a widespread thing now, legal marijuana, that you can't everybody can't go to jail for that shit.
It's all over the place. The state I live in, Maine, is a legal state. New Hampshire next door is not a legal state, but they've decriminalized it for
I think
up to
Ohio,
however much. Massachusetts is.
I think Pennsylvania
Colorado,
and Ohio just recently became
Colorado,
legal.
Washington, California. I'm trying to think of all of them that are, but it's just fucking ridiculous, is what it is.
Well, he can say whatever he wants, but I don't think it's enforceable at this point.
I wish
it's like a prohibition type.
I wish the other elves would make him some fucking edibles and just fucking stick him in a tree. What the fuck did he just write? Steve?
I don't know, some mumbo jumbo about marijuana and knee-jerk reactions and something about calming down.
Wow.
I don't see. I mean, I don't smoke it myself. Others on the panel may, but I don't see any problem with it for medical purposes. For one, and even recreation is fine. I don't, as long as it's not your whole lifestyle. You know what I mean? Fuck, smoke whatever you want.
I think for a lot of people it is a lifestyle, and I think people who drink beer or whatever or alcohol, it's a lifestyle for them too.
I mean,
especially the ones that do it all the time.
Right, alcoholism can be bad.
Mm-hmm.
It is bad. That's what I'm saying by lifestyle. When it's your entire life, then yeah, don't do it. I mean, seek some help. But if you're doing it recreationally on the weekends, fuck.
Yeah. I mean,
I think it's been proven pretty much that it's not really an addictive substance like alcohol is, or
well, see, here's the thing: Jeff Sessions
other drugs
thinks it's as dangerous as heroin.
I have to disagree with Mr. Sessions. And
drugs are bad, okay?
Well, it's classified as the same. Isn't it classified the same as heroin and cocaine and all that shit?
Yes,
and it shouldn't be.
It's a Schedule 1.
Right, and it shouldn't be because it's not.
And they had a chance, I think it was last year, I think it was 2017, to take it off of Schedule 1, the DEA, and they refused.
Now, Richard's saying marijuana has caused a few fatalities by people smoking and driving. Well, yeah, you shouldn't smoke it and drive. I mean, people do.
Steve, have you ever fucking smoked a joint and driven a car?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I haven't not driven a car.
Oh, okay. You haven't.
But I'll tell you what, I have been with people, and I've only ever smoked a couple times in my life. It didn't do much.
I'll tell you what happens, Steve. Your hands wind up at 10 and 2. You're paranoid as shit, and you drive really slow.
Well, I've always said it to people, and I don't drink and I don't smoke that stuff. I've done both in the past, but I'd rather be in a car with somebody smoking marijuana than somebody drinking alcohol any day of the week.
Oh, I've said for ages, if I'm going to a party, I would rather be around a bunch of people smoking weed than a bunch of people drinking, because a bunch of people drinking are very unpredictable.
Absolutely.
And I've seen so many cases where it just takes one or two assholes to cause a big fucking mess. And alcohol facilitates that more often than not.
I just think there will be some sort of giant Supreme Court battle if anything like that ever was enforced, because the states have the right to make up their own. I mean, they make up laws about legal age of drinking, which is way more dangerous than smoking pot by I don't know, thousands of percents.
And Steve, this is another reason why I'm ready for the Robot Overlords, because the Robot Overlords would be like, fucking, we can make money off this shit for the system.
Right. And that's true. And I'm sure being,
fuck, Colorado's just been toting around the amount of tax revenue they've been generating and raking in since they've made legal marijuana in the state.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, because everybody goes to Colorado.
Every problem that can be solved with Robot Overlords. Every fucking problem.
I don't think no. I don't. I have to agree with Richard on that. There are not every problem can be solved by a robot overlord.
Well, I can tell you right now, they're not going to be solved by human beings.
No, I didn't say that either. Oh, nice.
Steve, what have I told you?
I don't know.
What the fuck have I told you?
I don't know.
Turn your fucking shit off.
That means I'm making money.
Jesus fucking Christ.
It just means I'm making money. I need to know when I'm making money.
No, you don't. Turn the fucking no, turn it off so that the fucking doesn't
make any noise.
If you were a drug dealer. No, turn it off so that it doesn't make any noise and the notifications just come up and you can see them. So then you get your little dopamine high from your bullshit on your phone.
I like that little cha-ching sound.
Yeah. I don't.
It just makes me feel like I'm doing a good job. And you want to take that away from me. Robot Overlords would not take that cha-ching sound away from me. In fact, they're probably the ones who created it.
No, they would take it away because it fucking takes away from the show.
It was an oversight on my part to leave my phone on. How's that? Does that make you feel better?
No. No, it doesn't. I kind of wish Texas had gone full legal and then the government tried to go in there and tell them no.
Yeah, you don't mess with Texas, that's for sure. You apparently can mess with Hawaii, though.
Texas isn't even a state. It's a republic.
No, Pennsylvania isn't a state either. It's a commonwealth. Figure that one out.
Fucking crazy.
I don't see it. Even if it were overturned and the states abided everybody abided by it, the president would appoint a new attorney general and it would get overturned again. It would be a vicious cycle that way. That's all. And I tend to be more conservative in my thoughts. So it's not like I agree with, liberal ideas and things, but I don't think it's a liberal idea at all. It's just weed,
I agree, Steve. I completely agree. It's just weed.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal. It should have been legalized ages ago. And the problem was, a guy named William Randolph Hearst went after the hemp industry because it was threatening to put him out of business in the paper industry. So he took a bunch of money and just threw it at the fucking government and got them to make marijuana and hemp illegal along with a bunch of other shit. They wrapped it all into a bunch of other crap. And that's how it started.
So you're saying that weed is not, or marijuana is not legal in Texas yet?
I don't know if Texas is.
I don't think so. It's a very conservative state.
Yeah, I don't know if Texas has medical. I don't know. I haven't looked into that.
I was actually surprised that it was on. I'm pretty sure it was passed this year or last year in Ohio, which surprised me. Not that we're a conservative state or anything, but we were one of the few states that were holding out. So I just don't think there's a lot of other things that should be on our mind, whether weed should be legalized or not, on the government's mind, on the federal government's mind. It should be a state issue.
Well, I just think that the amount of tax revenue that it can generate when we have so many things to pay for in this country. Why the fuck not?
How many people are in jail because of possession and shit like that? When if it was legal, they wouldn't be.
Yeah, and there's a whole business there too,
Right?
because
And
our prison systems are very much for profit.
oh, of course they are. They have to be.
I don't think so.
But they're also overflowing.
It's an atrocity what's happened with that, if you ask me.
There's a lot of stupid crimes that get people put in jail, but I think that's one of the stupider ones.
I agree.
Now,
Again,
I don't think
another reason why I welcome the Robot Overlords, Steve.
Listen, they can make a legal age, that kind of thing, just like they do with alcohol if they want. That's
correct.
That's another way to go about it. But smoke a little bit of pot, and you end up in jail or huge fines or whatever it is. You get a record because you smoked a little pot. I mean, it's just crazy. Now, if you're dealing at the kids and shit, you should go to jail. But whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe there should be licensing and things like that. And I'm sure that some states have done that. I don't know what Colorado does. But there should be licensing to distribute it and things like that.
Oh, I'm sure there is.
Yeah, there's legal ways to
when
go
I
about it.
When I went to Washington, when you went into the store, you had to give them your ID. Like they had to, it was they had to be pretty cut and dry about everything.
Well, I can tell you, in the states of Pennsylvania and Ohio, they're really strict on certain things, and of course, marijuana is one of them. Any drugs, of course. But you go to the scrapyard and take a bunch of aluminum cans. They have to scan your fucking driver's license just to make sure you didn't steal all that shit. And it goes into the state system. And if you're turning in too many, not just cans, but any type of scrap metal and things like that. So the systems for that type of thing are in place. You can scan your driver's license every time you buy it, whatever. There shouldn't be any federal law.
Yeah, the nanny government has to stop.
Well, the government was never intended to be a nanny. It was supposed to be of the people, by the people, for the people, that kind of thing. And it's everything but that at this point.
And at this point, our police forces, who were originally intended to be servants of the people, have become glorified revenue collectors who lie constantly to people to get them to confess to shit and just put them in jail.
Well, now, come on. It's not all police officers and all police forces. There are some out there, I'm sure. Absolutely.
In my experience, the percentage is pretty high.
Been pretty happy with the police force in my town.
Have you?
Sure. Of course, I don't have any dealings with them, but the dealings that I've had.
Good for you, Steve.
My son got in trouble at school, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was. I had a police officer call me because of the trouble, and that's all it was. He's calling me to let me know that, hey, that this could be a bigger issue if it's not taken care of. And it wasn't like we're going to throw this kid in the slammer because he did this. It wasn't that sort of thing. They weren't after that. Now, in your scenario, my kid would be in juvie by now.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. It was assault on another student, if you want.
And in the state you came from, there's a judge now currently sitting in prison who was funneling kids who had done stupid shit into juvie.
It wasn't an actual fight.
The system
Richard. I'll tell you about it later.
The system is fucking corrupt. It needs to.
I have there's no doubt that in some parts of the country, and even maybe a lot of parts of the country, that the system is corrupt. Absolutely. Our entire government is pretty much corrupt. But that doesn't mean everybody in the government or everybody in the police force is corrupt.
Yeah.
Right?
Steve, are there decent police officers out there? Yeah, but they're also part of a system. The system is broken.
Well, I have to agree with you there. There's a lot of stupid things that happen, and a lot of, you know, crimes that are committed that weren't really crimes that shouldn't have been classified that way. And then obviously, you know, your speeding tickets, whatever, you they're they set up speed traps and shit. Like, they have those around here. Trust me. Although I've never been. Well, I was caught in one once, but the cop was super nice to me and didn't give me a ticket. So just the way it is. I don't think there's quotas and things like that. Not around here. Now, maybe where you're from, there are.
I don't know. Couldn't tell you.
Quit on the side of the police officer, because that's a noble profession, and they're kind of in the same profession if you think about enforcement, basically. So it's a very tough thing, in trouble with the law in any aspect, to get out of it, because obviously whose side are they going to be on? I mean, that makes sense.
Hmm.
Mr. Joe Blow, Chris York, or the cop who arrested you for whatever it was? That's why there's lawyers and things like that too.
And based on my experience and many experiences that I've seen, if anything should ever happen where I am arrested again, my mouth will be shut until
Well, yeah, that's probably
an attorney present.
that's probably the best,
Because they get
way to
you
go.
to do something that is not in your own best interest. They lie to you, Steve.
It's a police
Because
tactic for sure.
yeah, but you just told me it wasn't. You just
I
told me
didn't
that
say
there are good
No.
police officers out there that don't do that.
No.
But now you're telling me that it's a police tactic.
It's a police tactic for some police officers, sure.
Yeah.
They're human.
Yeah.
Overlords who make the right decision every time.
Yeah. The officer who arrested me, Steve, told me, "Yeah, you sign this piece of paper and, you'll be able to make bail, go home." The minute I signed that piece of paper, I was fingerprinted and shoved in a cell.
This piece of paper that you signed, did you read it?
I wrote it.
You wrote it?
Yeah.
What'd you do, confess?
No, I just made a statement.
Well, you shouldn't have made a statement.
Well,
either way, you'd have probably been, if you didn't make a statement,
Steve,
you'd have been thrown in a cell as well. So
see, that's the thing, Steve. They
catch-22
they convince you to make a statement.
And did you take that up with your attorney afterwards?
I wasn't allowed to speak to an attorney afterwards. I wasn't allowed to make a phone call afterwards.
You didn't get your one phone call?
Nope.
Is that? I'm not sure that's even a thing. I know it's on a lot of movies and shit, but is that a thing?
I was
denied.
Did they
read your Miranda rights?
Nope, but they don't have to do that anymore. I was denied my phone call because they said that there's a possibility that you may call the quote unquote victim.
So you have them dial the fucking number.
That's what I told them, and they said, nope, that's not our responsibility.
Well, you got some asshole cops in your area, I guess.
Ta-da!
I said in your area. That doesn't make them all that way. Just because you had a bad experience doesn't mean everybody does. My uncle was in law enforcement for many years in different aspects, all the way up to the FBI. So I kind of have a different take on it. Yeah, he's retired now, and he was a very fair individual, trust me. He would have busted me if I was doing something wrong, regardless of him being my uncle. But he would also be fair with you if you weren't.
Nice, Steve. That's great.
So just saying, your experience doesn't necessarily reflect the experience of others.
Okay.
Except in your town, maybe. I don't know.
If you say so.
But not letting you call. I thought it was still illegal not to read you your Miranda, but you say it's not?
I'm pretty sure it's like at this point, it's like a known thing. And they just expect that you know it. It's kind of like when you're driving a car, if you don't know the rules of the road, ignorance is no excuse for the law.
Right, I get that, but
so
and I'm sure they have to let you call your attorney if you want to.
I was not allowed to make a phone call, Steve.
That isn't. Maybe it was the type of crime, or not crime, but
The type
allegation.
There was no crime.
Right. Maybe it was the type of allegation, and there's different rules for that. I don't know.
You want to know what I did, Steve?
Well, I know the story, but if you want to say it on air, go.
I sent a text message to not the person who was the quote unquote victim, but somebody else, and just said, I'm going to turn her in to the IRS.
Well, there was your first mistake. And the last one, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well, did you end up turning them into the IRS?
To be honest, no. I let it go.
You learned your lesson.
No, I could have. I very well could have. This person worked off the books for many people and collected all kinds of money and never claimed it on her taxes.
Now, were you doing this out of spite?
Maybe.
Okay. Maybe that wasn't the right move.
But the fact of the matter is, Steve, that was not in any way a fucking crime.
No, I don't. You didn't send the text to the. Well, you sent the text to the wrong person, because that text got back to the person who.
And no one's name was in the text.
I'm sure it was implied.
Oh, I've made that argument before about stuff, and no, it has to be black and white when it comes to that shit.
But now, what was the outcome of this jail time?
For me?
Yeah.
I wound up in jail for 2 days, not knowing what the fuck was going to happen until I saw a judge. And when I got before the judge, of course, you get your court-appointed attorney, and I was like, dude, this is bullshit. Like,
right.
I've never done anything in my fucking life.
Right.
And
you've done things, just not caught.
Okay, Steve. But I wound up, I think I was the only one there that wound up getting out with no bail and no court costs.
Wait, you got out with no bail and no court. So the system worked.
Steve, I spent 2 days in jail.
The system worked in the end.
Oh yeah, that's lovely. So what are you telling me? You know, people who spend fucking years in like Rikers Island, which is getting fucking closed now, because you know the system works, where they just leave them there.
Yeah, you spend a couple days in jail, you got to relax and
fuck off, Richard. Steve isn't right.
I am right. I'm always right.
You know, 2 days of your life. You know what, Steve? I'd love to. No. I'd love to see you sit in jail for 2 days and then tell me the same fucking thing the day you get out. Because it's fucking. It takes away your fucking soul. You don't know what's going to happen to you.
I agree.
You have no fucking clue. No one will tell you a fucking thing. And then I'd love for you to sit in that situation and then come back here and tell me that that's how you feel about it.
Okay, if I get into that situation, maybe I'll change my mind. It's not going to happen, but if it ever does, I've come close. My ex-wife tried to do that to me once, so it's been close.
Maybe I'll do like that hacker and fucking send the cops to your house and have them arrest you. Only those cops shot that guy. Oops.
We won't repeat that one, Richard. But no, I mean, in the end, seriously, yeah, it sucked. I'm sure it sucked. I remember you telling me about it right after it happened and shit.
Richard,
but
no. Richard, come the fuck on the air.
Uh-oh.
What?
How much of this can I talk about?
I would prefer none of it.
Okay. Well, let me put it this way. You getting that much time for that crime it's legitimate.
Not legitimate.
Me getting
fucking.
Are you serious? Are you fucking serious?
Wait, well, did you commit the crime, Richard?
It wasn't a crime. It was bloody the way it is.
No. If you fucking physically harm someone, that's a crime.
Well, depends.
No,
We don't know.
they
We
did
don't know
that.
UK law. Well, we don't know what. I don't know the situation, so I'm not going to get into it.
No. This was in America.
Oh. Ah.
Two completely different fucking things, dude. Two completely different fucking things. Me sending a fucking text message that doesn't fucking mention even the person and doesn't threaten in any physical way or she broke the fucking law.
Did she get in any? Did she get in any trouble afterwards? I mean, for reporting this when it didn't actually and nothing happened.
No.
See, now that part of the system might be broken. For sure.
It is fucking broken. Period.
And I agree that 2 days in jail was not warranted, but wasn't it over a weekend and there was no judges and things like that?
It was on a Wednesday, Steve.
What? Where was the
judge didn't
what was
see,
the excuse
the judge
that it
didn't
was 2
see
days?
the judge didn't see cases again of this sort until Friday.
Well, that kind of sucks. I mean, I agree with you there. I mean, I wouldn't want to do it. I wouldn't want to go through that situation. You're right.
No, like I said, I really would love for you to spend 2 days in jail.
No,
and
I
then
refuse.
Tell me the same thing. Because I don't believe that you would at all.
I would be pissed off. I would be seriously pissed off.
Richard, unless you're willing to talk about it, don't sit in the chat and fucking send that shit to me. Because it is a crime. I've spoken to somebody who did it. It's a crime.
Legally, probably is, In the States, anyway. I don't know what.
Oh God. See, and I'm done. I'm done talking about it. Unless you're going to be honest about it, I can't do it because I can't have an argument with you on air about this unless you're willing to talk about it. So.
And it's his right not to. So
and I'm not going to drag it onto the fucking air because that's not what I'm going to do. But
see, I'll stay out of it. I'm playing Switzerland here.
Are you?
Yes. Aren't they the ones that are like neutral?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Okay. Small and neutral. That's right. I'm Switzerland in this situation because I've never been. Trust me, there's been times that I've wanted to be in both situations, as far as not the outcomes of either, but the. There's times I wanted to beat the shit out of people for similar things, but and there's times that I've wanted to send nasty text messages to people.
I think we can all agree that if you physically harm someone, it's a fucking crime, unless you're like slated to fight them in a UFC event or in a boxing ring.
I mean, I understand the other side of that too, where you want. Yeah, I'm done. Let's talk about something. Robot Overlords. Yeah. Now I'm starting to welcome the Robot Overlords.
See, I told you.
I don't like to see friends get into an argument like that. So I'm small and neutral, and that's the way I'm going to stay.
Yeah. Are you?
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
You're awesome, Steve.
I am.
We are not arguing. We have a difference of perspective. That is all.
Okay. That's fine. Thank you.
Yeah. Steve, people can have discourse just because mommy and daddy are fighting. It's okay.
The perspective, you guys scared? Of course, being Chris believes that he is right when he is in fact wrong.
Yeah. keep thinking that.
I'm done.
Hey, you know what? All I gotta say is, if you want to talk about it on air, I'm pretty sure that we could get a consensus on it. But don't.
Both situations definitely suck. I'm not going to disagree with that. And in part, the system did break down because you did spend 2 days in jail. I agree with you there. But in the end, of course, it worked out in your favor, which is great. And how it should have worked out in the beginning.
And you do know the whole story.
Yeah, I know the story.
Right.
I mean, I don't remember every single little detail, but yes,
Right.
I remember.
Right. But you know,
It was a
the
couple of years
story.
ago. So.
Yeah, it was a couple of years ago. A little over.
But in that case, yeah, you're right. The system did break partially, but in the end, it did work. I mean, the judge saw right through it all, and you got released. I mean, how fast were you released once you pled your case? Right away, right?
Oh no, they send you back to jail, and then you have to wait.
But same day.
Yeah, it was in the at night. I think I got out at like.
Obviously, there's
I think I
paperwork
got out
and
at like
bullshit.
8 o'clock, and
No,
they don't give you access to a phone to call anybody or anything.
see, no, I disagree with that part.
You're
The
pretty
system
well
broke down
fucked.
there,
They
too.
just pretty much throw you outside and tell you, "Hey, have fun."
As far as I know legally, you have the right to representation, and you have that right immediately. And so, them not letting you make a phone call, in my mind, now I don't know the law should be against the law.
Yeah, it's just stupid. I don't know, but
So how do we go from Hawaii to Chris getting thrown in jail and all that? Because the system. Oh, because we're talking about the broken system, and the overlords would not make the same mistakes. I disagree.
I think the robot overlords would fix everything.
If it's written into the code that you don't get to make a phone call, you still sit in jail for 2 days because the robot judge doesn't hear cases till Friday. It's still going to be the same thing.
The robot judges would fly through cases like nothing, Steve, because they don't have to sleep.
Yeah, guilty. That they just stamp it. Rubber stamp. No, there still would be systems in place. I mean,
I'm down. I'm totally down, Steve.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying there's still be systems in place. Somebody has to write the original code. Even if the code gets improved robotically over time or automatically over time, it still has to be written in the first place. And they're not going to change the entire system of law and justice and things like that just because there's robots.
The robots.
And we as humans, I don't think. No, they won't.
Yes,
we as humans, I don't think would allow that.
Steve, if a robot was in place,
we would at first.
The budget would be balanced in fucking less than a second.
Well, the only budget that would be needed is to maintain the robots.
Okay. And if a program's in place, Richard, by the way, there wouldn't be a loading time. It would already be loaded.
The computer would know the law right away, but it wouldn't have the ability to, like a human would be able to hear the inflection in your voice and be able to tell perhaps if you're lying or not just by your reactions. Or in your case, if it's illegal to harass somebody, and if there's nothing about sending a text to a different person in the code, you might still go to jail for something like that. So I don't know. Human or robot overlords, no.
Yeah.
I don't like it. Look,
I like my robot overlords, Steve.
Look what we've done to the animals. I mean, we've made cats and dogs our slaves, and we've cows, and we eat them and stuff like that. Do you want that? Because that's what it would be.
What? What would it be?
We'd be slaves of the robots, and
I'm down.
They'd eat us and shit.
No, I don't think the robots are going to eat us.
Well, they might. I mean, that's what we do to animals.
No,
because we believe we're superior to them, right?
Steve, no.
Well, the robots would eventually believe they're superior to us, and
the robots don't need to eat, Steve. The programs don't need to eat. They just need to have some power.
Right, and that's what it would end up being. Because these programs that people are writing now even are learning type programs, so the robots will learn over time, and then that'll take over, and there won't have to be any human intervention, and yeah, it won't be good. So the robots get to decide our fate, and I don't like that.
I like it.
All we'd be there for
what's the problem, Steve?
All you'd be there for is to maintain robots. because there wouldn't need to be anything else. Just robot maintainers.
All I know is I'm okay with it. I'm okay with a program deciding what's right.
It's like 1984 shit right there.
There you go. Let's do it, Steve.
Except with robots.
Robots. I love it. It's a beautiful world that way.
Well, if that's what you want, you can
Steve,
move to Robotlandia or something.
It's simple, absolutely, and I would.
I'm telling you, you wouldn't like it. It would be just like being in that cell for 2 days, except it'd be the rest of your life.
Okay.
Just saying.
It's going to be a good time, Steve, when the Robot Overlords take over.
I don't think you really believe that. I think you're just making it for dramatic for the show or something.
No, here's the absolute truth. I think humanity is fucking doomed. That's what I think.
We have been from day one.
I think that we're a selfish piece of shit race.
Right.
And that we will never cooperate. We will never fucking work towards a fucking singular end. And I think that the robots will.
But who gets to decide what that singular end is? The robots? And
that's right.
Who's programming these robots originally to decide that?
See, Steve, you're not thinking of this in the right terms.
Yes, I am.
You're thinking of when a human programs the robot. No. Think of it when the robot programs the fucking robot.
Yeah, but somebody has to program the original program. A human has to do that. In fact, they're doing it now, obviously. Mm-hmm. They're trying to anyway, artificial intelligence. But originally, there's going to be some sort of prime directive, if you will. And
yes.
And somebody has to come up with that. And it isn't going to be a robot that comes up with it originally.
You got Netflix, right, Steve?
I do.
Have you seen the movie Automata?
No.
All right. Next time you and your wife are bored, watch Automata. It's a sci-fi movie with Antonio Banderas. Can you do that for me? Can you put that on your list?
Not, but I'll put it on the list. But
I think you should do that for me, Steve.
Why don't you just give me the premise of the movie, and then I'll figure out if I really want to watch it or not.
It's about a guy who works for a company that creates robots. Who he's like kind of like the insurance guy, goes out and tests the robots when people make claims that the robots have done shit that they shouldn't do.
Mm-hmm.
And they have all these rules like that robots can't harm people, and that robot can't make any repairs or upgrades to itself. Well, they find robots that are starting to do their own repairs.
Right. It's kind of like the iRobot thing. The movie, not the book.
Kind of similar. But yeah. So it's a great movie.
So what happens in the end? Do the robots take over? And is humanity better?
Steve, I am not going to tell you the end. I want you to sit down and watch it.
Well, I don't believe that humanity would be better off run by robots or artificial intelligence of any sort. We probably are to a point already, but
I just think that they're the next step in evolution.
Well,
see, and I want to make a point at this point, Steve. At this point, Richard is just trying to troll me in the fucking chat. That's all he's doing.
No, I think he's correct. I think everything that Richard has said tonight, for the most part, not everything, but most of it.
You would, because he's had his nose fucking firmly planted up your fucking ass.
Hey, there's no right or wrong answer here. The robots wouldn't be better, but if we continue down the path that we're on, we're not going to be any better for ourselves either. So,
Richard, you're not going to shake me. Stacey Brown calling me on my fucking honeymoon and threatening me didn't fucking shake me.
Stacey Brown, the winner of Bigfoot Bounty? That Stacey Brown?
That would be the one.
Huh. Where's he? What's he doing? No, never mind. No,
exactly. What's he doing now?
I think, yeah. And on the point that robots wouldn't be any better, I have to agree with Richard, but I also have to agree with you that we're going to destroy ourselves eventually, and it may be soon. Who knows? But look at the Hawaii thing. People were genuinely scared because the
Because
what's his name?
Because of what?
Because
Human error.
But no, it wasn't. They weren't so scared about the human error part as that just last week there was an announcement from South Korea that they had ballistic missiles that would reach the United States.
No, not South Korea, Steve. Get it
Or
right.
North Korea. I don't know which Korea. One of those Koreas. The bad Korea. The good Korea makes nice clothes and shit, but the bad Korea had announced that they had missiles that could, whether they're talking out their ass or not, I don't know. But so just last week, so that was fresh on people's mind, and then the human error aspect came into play, and that made it all the worse, of course. But you're saying that a robot would not make the same error. How do you know that? There's glitches in every kind of program, and that's all a robot really is. A program.
I'm saying that if the robots become sentient and start making robots, that those robots would make correct decisions.
Correct decisions based on what, though?
Based on whatever
the betterment of humanity?
Whatever needs to be done.
It's not based on the betterment of humanity.
At that point, probably
it's based
it won't
on
be.
whatever the robots want, or whatever was programmed into the robot.
I'm willing to let them be the next thing, Steve. I'm letting go.
I'm going to fight against it.
I'm letting go.
I'm going to be the first anti-robot crusader.
Fuck it. Smoke a joint.
Heard it here first.
Chill out.
Robot will be illegal under robot law. We do will be illegal under robot law.
For what? To chill out?
Don't allow it. They're robots. Allowed under robot law. Yeah. Haven't you watched any of the movies besides the Antonio Banderas one?
I've watched all kinds of movies, Steve. I just don't care anymore. That's what it's all about, Steve.
And then there won't be any people. I'm just saying.
You got to do what you got to do, Steve. It's your life, buddy.
I mean, I'm sure there's robots will do better.
I disagree. I think they'll fix everything.
There's no possible way they could fix everything. We've made a pretty good mess.
I think anything's fixable.
The human race is not fixable.
I think fucking planet Earth will be here long after we're gone.
I agree there, and I think we're just a cycle of the Earth. You know, eventually, all humans will go away eventually, whether it's by our own hand or nature. But I don't think robots are the answer.
Just pieces of shit. We're like the we're the sewage of the planet.
I don't. Now you're trolling Richard.
Fuck.
No, I think we're weakening ourselves by becoming pussies and shit. You know, all
the pussification of the world.
Yeah, not all of us, obviously, but some. It's becoming the popular thing to be a pussy, apparently. But I don't think robots will make that any different. In fact, it'll probably make us worse. It'll probably make us more pussy-fied.
You think you think robots will pussify us?
Sure. What do we got to do then? Just sit there and bitch about shit. That's all we're going to ever do.
We'll become fat and just sit in them chairs like those people in WALL-E.
Well, if there's nothing for us to do, I mean, if you put robots in charge, that means everybody in the government's out. Obviously there'd still be, I would assume, some humans around, but you wouldn't need a president or a prime minister or a queen because the robots take care of that now.
That's right. The government would get really cheap.
So all we're going to do as humans is sit there and bitch about the robots. That's it. And then we'll be...
Giddy up, Steve.
But we won't do anything about it. No, we don't need a president now either, Richard. What's he really do? I mean, not Trump, for example, but the president, the office.
In general?
In general. Just a glorified king. That's it. With a different name.
Like I said, I just think people are way too self-interested to make the right decisions ever.
Well, I think people as a whole probably are. You're right. But not as individuals. Some individuals can make great decisions.
But overall,
I think nature tells us that we need to survive, so we make decisions that are in our own best interest.
But might not be in the own best interests of the whole.
That's not the way nature is, though.
Right, but that's the only way for this species to evolve past that, and we're never going to do it.
I don't know. I mean, obviously people think we are. I mean, that's why you have people coming together all over the world to do things, and which is great. I think it should be that way. But there's always going to be things that separate us as humans, like religion and race and things like that. So as long as there's those things, there will always be self-serving interests.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And the robots aren't going to change race, religion, and things like that. You'll still have it. So it won't be any better.
If you say so.
People will start worshiping the fucking robots.
I will.
It'll be a new religion. You're like the leader of the cult already.
I'm ready. I'm fucking Chris Koresh. Let's go. Let's fucking do it.
We could start our own robot cult. Is there a robot? I'm sure there's already a robot cult out there.
My fucking theme song will be 100011 10101.
10011 1001.
Song by Clutch, Steve.
Did I say it right?
No.
No.
100011 10011.
Well, I don't know. I'm against the robots. You're for the robots. I don't think we're ever going to agree, and that's probably part of your argument.
Yeah, we're gonna, I guess, have to agree to disagree, Steve.
Well, I don't agree to disagree.
You don't?
No.
Oh.
I think we should come to some sort of agreement,
well,
and not to disagree.
We're not good enough. We're not the robots. We can't. We're humans.
So let's say we program a bunch of robots to run the government of the United States, and then Canada programs their own robots, and they don't get along because the programs are different. And then Russia programs their robots to be really mean, and China programs their robots to be super nice.
You know what we get? You know what we get then, Steve?
What?
Robot war, which is fucking awesome.
Oh yeah, I have. As long as there's no humans involved in it, that would be cool to watch robot wars.
Fucking right.
And that's kind of the way the militaries are going nowadays.
We've all seen Pacific Rim.
You got some countries who would rather, let all their soldiers die, but some of the more advanced countries would rather the robots fight it out. And nobody dies. So whoever has the better robots wins, I guess.
Love me some robot wars, Steve.
I wonder if we're on the cutting edge of robot warfare.
I hope
The
so.
States here.
Be great to watch.
So over in the UK, they'll have a robot queen. That'd be cool.
Damn Skippy Steve.
In Buckingham Palace.
Hey Steve.
Hmm.
Any news tonight?
I think so.
Was our producer on the ball?
I'm waiting for the news theme.
Hmm.
No news theme.
No news. I guess no news theme for us.
That was your cue, Richard. Thank you.
That was
didn't
wait.
That didn't work out at all.
That was the most lackluster fucking.
When you play the news theme, he loves to hum it. But
Right.
when it's his turn to shine, because your computer's down, he fucks it all up. Whatever. Com.au. This is about, the top secret airline that flies people to Area 51. I think it's called Janet or Janice or something like that. Anyway, they're looking.
How do I get a ticket?
Well, you can actually fly the plane if you want. They're looking for some crew. The world's most mysterious airline that flies unmarked planes into the Area 51 is now searching for crew members. Remaining calm in stressful situations, dealing with tricky customers and long hours in the sky, flight attendants work hard, but a new airline job ad expects even more of the potential applicants. Janet, it is Janet, by the way, Airlines, which flies U.S. government workers from Las Vegas to the mysterious Area 51 in Nevada, is looking for cabin crew who qualify for top secret government security clearance. Oh, shit, that leaves us out. Shrouded by mystery, the airline's fleet consists of unbranded planes which are operated by the U.S. Air Force. It's not that much of a mystery if we already know what the name. We know the name of the airline. We know what the planes look like, and we know where they fly. A job advertisement posted on the website of private defense contractor AECOM, I don't know how to say that, states the candidates must be able to deal with unusual incidences like hijackings and bomb threats. Nice. Sounds like a wonderful job. As well as all the duties expected of regular cabin crews, such as safety demonstrations, cleaning, and emergency procedure. Applicants must keep quiet about where they're going and what they're doing, even though we already know where they're going. Janet Airlines wasn't named after a mysterious woman. The name is said to stand for just another non-existent terminal. But other than that, very little is known about it.
They love their acronyms, Steve.
The government always loves their acronyms. I wonder, is Janet run by the government? Well, no, it's run by this private contractor, AECOM. So, but apparently AECOM likes their acronyms as well. Flight tracking radar shows some of the flights with the call sign starting with XXX. I want to get on that plane. Making the 45-minute journey to the nuclear facility at Tonopah, which has been the focus of many conspiracy theories. Other brief flights go to unspecified destinations nearby, believed to be Area 51, famous with alien hunters. I don't know why. The highly classified site at Groom Lake is believed to be used as test experimental aircraft and Black Project's weapons systems. So if you want to get in on that, you got to apply for that job.
Fly Janet Airlines.
My computer froze up on me, so that's probably the only news story for the night.
That's awesome, Steve. That's
Oh wait, here's another one.
Oh,
yes, I have another one. It's not working, but this one's about some guy who. Oh, here we go. No, that's the wrong one. With razor sharp. Oh, this is from the Daily Mail. With razor sharp cheekbones and perfect brows and plump lips, Poland has its own answer to the human Ken doll, and he's a psychic. TV psychic medium Michael. Oh God, Richard, why do you give me these names? Przybylowicz, I think is how you say it.
Good job, Steve.
Has been the talk of Polish media for his startling likeness to a plastic action figure. But despite his incredible appearance, the star recently said in an interview with the Polish magazine se.pl that his looks are down to beauty treatments and not plastic surgery. A fucking doll. But I do not abuse the treatments of aesthetic medicine, he said. It is more care with cosmetics, as he calls it. The fortune teller claims his look is... I already read that. Never mind. Michael has been likened to the country's Polish Barbie doll. Anela Ann, an architect from Poznan. I don't want to read this. So this guy looks like a Ken doll, apparently.
Yeah.
He does, actually. He looks a lot like a Ken doll. And his hair is weird, too.
Does he have plastic hair, Steve?
It looks plasticky. But Richard gave me purposely hard to pronounce shit just because he thinks it's funny, and I don't like that. Daily Mail, again. The night a ghost tickled my toes as I slept. Story. A woman who grew up in a cemetery. Oh, why would you want to grow up there? Why would you want to live in a cemetery? I guess since she didn't have much choice. A woman who grew up in a cemetery describes her great childhood. Great. Even after she was woken by a woman touching her feet during a blizzard 70 years ago. During one of the worst blizzards to hit New York City in 1947, 2-year-old Margaret Paul couldn't stay asleep. She kept waking up crying that a woman was tickling her toes. Eventually, her mother decided to take her into her room where Margaret spent the rest of the night in peace. The next day, her mother found out that the body of a young woman had been brought to Union Field Cemetery the night before and at her burial. Instead, her body was kept in the chapel in the same building as the caretaker's apartment where Margaret and her family lived. The woman had likely only just died, and Margaret's father believed the woman had died in childbirth. Says her father could have been embellishing. I think this whole story is embellished. That was her only possible paranormal experience, despite the fact that she grew up living in the Union Field Cemetery. Though Miss Paul, with her New York accent, is sensible and doesn't particularly believe in ghosts, that encounter from 70 years ago does make her pause. It's the only time anything like this happened, Miss Paul said. I don't know. It makes you kind of wonder. So is this a paranormal story, or she doesn't believe in ghosts?
Got me, Steve.
Good one, Richard. Thanks. So this lady died in childbirth and tickled Margaret's toes. And they wrote a story about it. The end. And that's the news. There was another story, but I didn't like it.
Why not, Steve?
It was about Bob Gimlin, and it was written in the third person or something, and I just didn't like it. Bob Gimlin being the famous Bigfoot guy.
What was the what was the story about? Like, what's going on?
I don't know. I saw Bob Gimlin, and I
What's
turned
going on with old Bobby Gimlin?
I don't know. I didn't read it.
Give us a skinny, Steve. What's going on with old Bobby Gimlin?
I don't know. I got past the first sentence, and that was it.
You know what's going on.
Well, I know there's some controversy behind Mr. Gimlin at this point.
Yeah. What kind of controversy, Steve?
Well, there's people who believe that people are taking advantage of him, or he's just kind of lost it or something. We don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of agree with some of it. I met Bob Gimlin back in 2013 or 14. Super nice guy.
I remember
you
meeting him.
Yeah, easy guy to talk to. You could approach him. The only thing you had to pay for at that time was his autograph. That's how he made his money on these Bigfoot speaking engagements. Mm-hmm. So if you wanted his autograph, you had to pay $10, I think it was. I did not get it because it wasn't important to me to get it. It was more important for me to have a nice little conversation with the guy. Mm-hmm. Well, apparently nowadays you can't approach the guy unless you got wads of cash. So, or you're friends with his quote unquote handler is what the controversy is. Now, I haven't had the opportunity to see Mr. Gimlin since those days, so I don't know how much of that is truth and how much is conjecture. But just from what I read, it seems like there's some truth to it. And what's going? I guess there's a documentary.
Does anyone
being
mind
made.
if I just interject here? Because Steve is just going to pussyfoot around this subject, and I'd rather just steamroll over it.
The opinions expressed by Richard Allen are not necessarily the opinions of the Fortean Slip. Or go ahead.
In our opinions, Russell Accord is pimping Gimlin out for all the money he can make. He is practically raping him. It is abhorrent and it is wrong.
Who is Russell Accord?
I don't know, some wanker that's making a documentary. He's got
So
Bob
there's a-
Gimlin to sign something, and now he's just fucking milking him for all it's worth. There's fucking I Stand With Bob t-shirts and all sorts. It's absolute travesty.
Well, I have to say that
Sorry.
if what you're saying is true, it is a travesty because Bob was
because Steve, I stand with Parabob.
right. Well, I do as well.
We all stand
gotta
with
make-
Parabro.
We had to make those t-shirts. Bob Gimlin, like I said, was an easy guy to approach. You could talk to him. You could ask him any question you want. There was always this controversy that there were people who wouldn't let you approach him and shit, but that wasn't true because I didn't see it when I met him. Nobody was even around him. I have a picture of Bob standing there all by himself in the middle of this huge room, just by himself. Nobody was around him and enjoying himself, So it wasn't like the guy was unapproachable. Nowadays he is. You pretty much have to sign your life away and have a wad of cash or something. I don't know. There's a documentary apparently being made about his life. I'm sure it's not all Bigfoot related. Bob is an amazing guy. He's done a lot of things. He rode motorcycles with Evel Knievel. He was a rodeo guy for a long time. I mean, he's done a lot of pretty cool things. And of course, the Bigfoot film that with him and Roger Patterson. But he's always been, like I said, approachable, and now he's not. And so that does give you some pause as to what's really going on there. So,
Yeah,
Said
no,
what was really going on. There's the cool twats
I'm-
milking him.
I've never met him, so I couldn't make that leap, I guess.
great guy. Was.
I don't know.
And of course, he's put some YouTube stuff out with Mr. Accord, and that's in itself has been controversial about what happened at the 50th anniversary conference they had there, I guess, in Willow Creek. What went on there, which is, I don't know a lot about that situation, but that's what kind of, it was kind of going on before that, but that's kind of what blew everything up out of proportion. And now it's just like either you're with him or against him, I guess. Not Bob himself, but Russell and some of that stuff. So I don't know. I'm not qualified to speak to it too much.
Yeah, I guess it's too bad then.
It is too bad.
Well, it's kind of depressing, Steve.
Well, it is. Bob Gimlin's a legend. You
You brought
and
you brought the show down, Steve.
well, Bob Gimlin's a legend, and he should be remembered. Now, whether people believe him or not, that's a whole different story. I don't know. Whether the Bigfoot film was real or not. I'm on the fence about it all the time. But the legend that he helped create, he should be remembered for that, and not being a prickly old man who kowtows to one guy. Because that's where it's at right now, and that kind of sucks. But
Yeah. Hence why I tapped out.
Yeah.
Remember when we had Mick West on the show, Steve?
I do.
God.
Remember when we had Tim Fasano on?
I
Yeah,
certainly do.
No shit, right? This has been the Fortean Slip, episode 8, the Robot Overlords episode. If you like this shit, hit the little thumbs up button. If you don't, hit the little thumbs down button. Leave a comment, people. Last episode has no comments. Thanks. I appreciate it. Subscribe on iTunes or go to Libsyn, download the podcast. Check out Matt Knapp at youtube.com/bigfootcrossroads. Check out Richard's comic strip, Bigfootin' with Keith and Colin on Facebook. Check out Fred Dunn, Dred Funn at youtube.com/Dred Funn and dredfun.com. Check out Steve at stevesanasshole.com. And hopefully we will be back next week with more fun for you.
Can I turn on my notifications now?
Yeah. You
Thank you.
You do what you need to do.
You know what? I take it all back. Steve's wrong.
See ya.